A very good Sunday morning to you. You are watching the Fixed Wing Guide channel with me, Stuart Lomas. I hope I find you well today. A cooler day here in Manchester today, a little bit of cloud cover. Not too cold, quite pleasant. Could be a walk on the horizon later on. No tennis today, so what I might do, I might catch up on some of the matches that I missed yesterday, which you can do off the BBC Sport website anywhere in the world. So if you're a tennis fan and you're not in the UK, the BBC Sport website is the place to head towards. I'm going to start this video off by showing the watch that I was wearing yesterday for one of my subscribers, Purple Haze, who said I wasn't wearing a watch yesterday. That's a bit like saying I wasn't wearing underpants yesterday, and I can say affirmative to both of those things. So the watch I was wearing yesterday was this, my Parnis Big Pilot with the seagull movement in there, with the beautiful buffalo leather strap with the twin studs and deployment clasp, and exhibition back, 300 meters, water rated. So that was what I was wearing yesterday. It's what I'll be wearing today, and it's got that lovely chamfered crown. I have no idea what that style of crown's called, I have to say. So if you know, let me know. It's a beautiful movement. It is as smooth as silk when it runs. It really is, and a lovely clear dial, obviously as you would expect from a pilot. There it is. Now, what this watch actually is a bare-faced rip-off of that. Now, would I like to own that? Absolutely. Absolutely. But, you know, IWC don't come cheap. And when I bought that, money was a little tight. Anyway, that's what I was wearing yesterday, blue Purple Haze, and that is what I'll be wearing today. It's a chunky old piece. It's a beautiful watch to wear and keeps fantastic time. Anyway, let's move along. I had a request from one of my subscribers, a gentleman called Max Cady, who I did a video for a while back, because Max was wondering why I subscribe to the particular channels that I subscribe to. If you've not seen that video, have a look back. I think it actually starts off by saying a reply to Max Cady. Max asked me to put together a video about the top 5 watch channels on YouTube, as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion. I did reply to him saying that's actually quite a difficult call to make, because we are obviously looking at my opinion, you know, and my opinion is no more valid than your opinion. So what I said to Max was I will do my video. And it's going to be as unbiased and as fair as I can possibly make it, to give you a fair idea. If you haven't visited any of these particular channels, give them a go, and if you have, you will obviously know of them, and you'll have your own opinions of those channels. So let's kind of start off at the more serious and informative end. The watch is going to be relatively, the list is going to be relatively short, because, as you know, there are too many channels out there for me to list, or for me to watch, and for you to watch. I mean, there isn't the time. So the serious and more informative channels, obviously the first one that comes to most people's minds is Hodinkee. Hodinkee is great because it gives a real insight into watches, what watches actually are, the manufacturers of watches. They go out and visit different manufacturers. They did a great one, for instance, in Seiko in Japan, which was fantastic, talking to a guy who had kind of worked his way up through the ranks to become a master watchmaker stroke assembler for the Grand Seiko range. Hodinkee also talked to well-known and prestigious watch collectors. I think, you know, if you are wanting an insight into watchmaking, watch collecting, what is good, how to get what is good, to get an insight into the history of different watches, and maybe even an insight into the auctioneering of prestigious watches, Hodinkee is the place to visit. Second one, it's one of my personal favourite channels, is the Watches TV. The Watches TV tends to be more light-hearted than Hodinkee. I find it very entertaining. They do cover Basel every year. They go to a number of different venues, being events, watch launches, manufacturers. They go all around the world covering different kind of watch events and all the promotional things around that. So you'll get to see a lot of posh restaurants and race venues and celebrities and celebrity gatherings for new watch launches, such as Omega, for instance. And the videos generally are sub 10 minutes, so they're not any great drain on brain power. You can just sit there with a cup of tea and enjoy them and let them wash over you, and they're very, very easy to watch. The Watches TV and a blog to watch and Worn and Wound. I'm putting them all under one umbrella because generally what they are very, very factual. This is the watch, the size of the dial, how good the loom is, what the strap or the bracelet is like, and they're generally all done from a POV camera. So you are seeing the nuts and the bolts and the functions of the watches that they are reviewing, and they are very up to date generally. You can get all the new models as far as production line is concerned, and you will get to see everything that the watch has got to offer. So if you are the kind of person that is just looking for what a watch is, what it looks like when it's properly lit, how good the loom is, what the power reserve is, what the hand wind mechanism's like, what the actual movement looks like if it has an exhibition back. Those three channels, I said, watch it, the blog to watch, Worn and Wound, are all very, very good places to start. More on the serious side, but if that is what you're looking for, then head in that direction. Another nice channel actually is one of my followers, a gentleman called Tempo Kostos. Now Tempo, I think he's got about 4 or 5 videos up on YouTube, and he reviews kind of all his own personal watches, and what I like about him is he's a normal guy who likes watches. He will tell you all about the watch, where he bought it, what to look for, whether there are any downfalls with that particular watch, whether there are any particular versions of the watch that can be potentially good, whether it's a particular watch that is liable to be a fake. Obviously, he gives valid advice regarding buying them from a good quality jeweler, or, of course, somebody who is recommended on the net, who maybe will have a lot of good feedback. If you're looking on YouTube, on eBay, for instance, he puts forward a very good, very balanced point of view regarding the watches that he owns, and I find that actually very helpful as far as a watch buyer is concerned, especially if you're going to buy watches in the pre-owned market. I mean, I think this is a conclusion kind of we're all coming to very, very slowly, that to go out there and pay full retail and be overcharged and kind of disregarded once you've gone out the door, you know, your main ADs don't really want anything other than to take the money from you. So why give them your cash? Do what Tempo Kostos recommends, which is go to a good recommended jeweler. My only addendum to that would be, you know, go to a good long established pawnbroker, for instance, or a pre-owned broker, somebody who's been around for many, many years. Funnily enough, I went to see one yesterday. There's a company based around Manchester called Mays. Mays have been around since about the 1800s. See, nothing ever changes. People always need pawnbrokers. And I was actually looking at a Rolex Deep Sea, and it was 4795, pre-owned, mint condition, absolutely beautiful. And I was just asking one of the girls behind the counter, and just as I was about to leave, the manager of the store asked me, was I looking for that particular watch? Well, as you're all aware, I am shopping around at the moment, and he said that he had a brand new Sea Dweller in stock, box, papers, completely new, never worn, which he's got from a jeweller. So he's now in the grey market, so maybe a buying option for us all. And if Mays is anything to go by, they are going into the grey market. So if you have a good quality pawnbroker near you, it might be worth asking. The next section I'm going to talk about is, I'm going to call it watches and more, solely on the basis that they are more about, and this is where Max contacted me originally, I think. They're not just about watches. The reason I came across all these channels was because I was looking for channels about wristwatches. But the more you watch the channels, the more you realise that what these people are doing are actually giving you a snapshot into their lives, which I always find quite appealing. And the first one I ever came across was the Adrikos channel with Andy Hunter. Now, Andy... I find Andy a very personable guy. He seems to be a guy who has worked hard all his life and has been successful in many ways. He has a very settled lifestyle. He has obviously children who are very settled at home, obviously his dogs. But Andy is obviously a great watch fanatic. I think he owns 7 watches in all, a couple of which are in his bank safe, obviously. But all his others that he wears on a fairly regular basis, but keeps reverting, of course, to his Omega Seamaster 300 Professional coaxial, which he loves to pieces. But Andy has no problem at all with venting his spleen, talking about the things that annoy him, or indeed delight him, talking about the problems that he's having with his neighbours, talking about the issues that he's having in court and things like that. And I quite like that little door partially open that we can have a peek into. So that's Andy Hunter. If you've never been there, have a look at Andy. He's worth a look. Simon Crane. Simon, I came across kind of via Andy, as we all do. We all kind of interlink in this little circle of watch nutcases. Excuse me. As always, I'm not going to sing. Don't worry. Simon is up in Scotland. I speak to Simon on a fairly regular basis. He is a lovely guy. He is a very focused guy. He does assure us of that fairly regularly. He knows what he likes, and he likes what he knows. Obviously, for the longest time, he was looking at a JLC, which I think he's put a little bit on the back burner at the moment, and I actually think that's quite a good thing. Simon, again, very much like Andy, is a normal, hard-working guy. Works from silly o'clock in the morning till afternoon, and works hard a good 5 or 6 days a week, travelling around to different markets around Scotland. A very settled family life, and seems a very happy man. I speak to Simon on a fairly regular basis, and we do chat about a lot of things. Simon, up until recently, is one of these guys who was kind of fighting back against the trolls and re-trolling the trolls, as it were. And as of late, he's kind of adopted more my attitude of things, which is ignore them. and they'll go away if you start engaging with them. You're just throwing fuel onto the fire, as it were. But Simon is great friends with other people out there in the watch community, and you will find a lot of his videos where he chats to Lord David, etc., and even Andy Hunter and Archie. So you are getting access to other people by mistake, as it were, when you watch Simon. Obviously, he is very famous for his Batman dressing gown, which he told us that he was retiring, but obviously I've noticed it's reappeared. Have you seen that? Anyway, have a check of Simon if you've not seen him before. He's a good person to watch. The Urban Gentry with TGV. The Urban Gentry is more a polished lifestyle channel, obviously based around watches. His lineage is English/Italian. He does spend the majority of his time, as far as I see these days, in New York. But he's got obviously many interests. He's obviously interested in IT, but you can tell by the number of computer screens behind him. He's got a great interest in classical music, and he obviously keeps fit. He does a lot of running, taking his little dog out into the parks in New York. As I understand it, because I don't actually subscribe to the Urban Gentry, but he's got a great love for Oris, Squale, and Sin watches. He seems to be going down the Sin route at the moment. So if you enjoy those particular brands, then by all means give the Urban Gentry a view. The Distinguished Gentleman channel with Chris Teal-Jones. Chris Teal-Jones won Andy Hunter's one of his awards in his award show last year. CTJ is currently amending his collection a little bit and wheedling it down and selling a few things off to try to put other things in place. So by all means give CTJ a look on the Distinguished Gentleman channel, and I think you'll probably find something there that will interest you. A channel that I've come across relatively recently, but we converse quite regularly, is A Gentleman's Life. A gentleman called Sam. Sam is, I think he's an airman serving with the USAF in Germany. Sam's a very interesting guy. He's got a good life plan in view right now. He's planning on getting married at some point in the near future. His next big purchase is going to be a Rolex Blue Black, which I think is his view to wearing that on his wedding day. I talk to Sam fairly regularly, and he comments on a lot of my videos. He's a very interesting guy. He seems to have a very eclectic view on life. Makes videos about all sorts of things, whether in cycling or the kind of coffee he drinks, the watches that he buys. He did one recently about his top 10 movies, which was really interesting. Give that a view if you've missed that one. So that's A Gentleman's Life with Sam. Of course, the next one everybody knows is Johnny Casual. Johnny has just surpassed his 1,000 subscribers in 6 months. That is absolutely fantastic. What an achievement that is. Johnny, of course, is famous for his rambles, whether it be sat behind his desk in his home, or whether he's driving with his split screen shot of him and whatever watchmaking delight he has on his wrist that particular day. Johnny's a great guy. Yet again, Johnny and I speak on a fairly regular basis. We are two sides of the same coin, I think. We do tend to fall on the same side of a coin as far as agreement on different watch philosophies are concerned. The only place that he and I differ slightly, Johnny talks about the watch tier philosophy, where you should always kind of move up the tiers and make your watch quality as far as purchasing is concerned better each time. If you watch my pond philosophy of my own watch collection, you'll obviously understand that I disagree with that, but that doesn't take away anything from my admiration or enjoyment for Mr. Casual. So if you've not seen Johnny before, I assume that that's unlikely, but if you haven't, check him out. Don Haynes, Penn Football 71. Don is all about the mechanics, I guess, of the watch. Don is a big guy with a big personality. He talks about different brands, the way they work, what their movements are like, perhaps even how the movements can be improved, what materials could be used to improve them, perhaps what they could do to stop more dust adhering to the movements, etc. Don does a lot of videos in different locations. Very interesting to see where he goes, and he has recently reintroduced us to his partner in life, Megan, and good to see her back on video. So if you haven't seen Don, go there and have a look. Matt Stevens, 1783 Pictures. Matt is a very interesting guy. As he says himself, Kevin Spacey's illegitimate son. And if you see one of his videos, you'll understand why he says that. Matt is a great lover of quartz watches, which is a fantastic thing to see, given all the watch snobbery that is based around mechanical and automatic watches in this world. He has different styles. We've not actually seen him sat behind his desk with all his hardbound comic books for a long time. We tend to see him in his car right now, and personally, I'm now waiting anxiously to see all these edited China videos that he did during his month away. So if you've not seen any of Matt's videos, pop over there to his website, his YouTube channel, and have a look for yourself. I think you'll really enjoy him. Guido Pelagos. Guido is based in Amsterdam. Guido's a really cool guy. He is one of my subscribers, and we chat now and again via comment on my videos. He makes relatively short vids, but always very informative. He does the occasional rant about different things, which are always very valid, and I do find myself agreeing with a lot that Guido has to say. So seek out Guido and have a look to see what things he's talking about. I'm sure you'll find something there that's of interest to you, and actually very valid as far as perhaps your future watch buying is concerned. The amateur watch collector. Amateur watch collector is a lady called CG. CG is based in the US. She is ex-military. Now my contact with CG came along via a video I made called Where's the Ladies? Inquiring where all the ladies are in this wonderful watch collecting world that we're all involved in. And the aforementioned Simon Crane pointed me in CG's direction. CG is brilliant. She has a partner and a number of children who are absolutely lovely. If you've seen her channel, or you've not seen it, head there. She did a lovely video recently where they went to a dude ranch on holiday. It looks absolutely brilliant, and the kids were having a great time. She loves squale pieces, but she is at the moment being that little voice nagging in her ear about a Hulk Rolex. My advice is for her to stop the nagging and buy the thing. So get over to CG's channel, said the amateur watch collector, and it's lovely to see a lady doing what we do every day. Jeffrey McMahon. Jeffrey is a great guy. He's got a fantastic personality, a real big guy. Looks as though he should be or is in the forces. He actually isn't. He's a teacher. Has two lovely daughters who constantly appear on his videos, or should I say interrupt his videos, and he will put forward essays, verbal essays, as I would want to use the term owned by myself and Peter DeWint, a verbal essay about a number of things. He is a great fan of Seiko watches, and he is heading towards, I think, a Breitling Super Avenger at some point. And he always prefaces his videos by wanting to address the international watch community, which I'm proud to label myself as one of those. Can I suggest at this point, kind of bringing this video sort of to an end, I subscribe to all the major watch manufacturers. YouTube feed, solely on the basis that I enjoy seeing all their promotional stuff, especially the Omega ones. I mentioned a while back in one of my videos, Omega makes some really great cinematic advertisements, is all you can call them, commercials, which are great to watch. And Cartier did a lovely one last Christmas, I think it was, with a leopard in Paris. So I do enjoy watching those. The Rolex ones are not really about the watches, they are more about all the sporting events they sponsor and the type of sports they do. But I do enjoy the yachting ones that they actually sponsor, because I'm actually quite keen on yachting. I regularly frequent Cowes Week down on the Isle of Wight here in Britain, where they have the premier yacht racing part of the Admiral's Cup tournament, and that is the pinnacle of that particular tournament. As an honourable mention, I will tie this video in a little neat bow, and obviously talk about Archie. We can't leave out Archie. I think the important thing to know about Archie is that my impression of Archie is that unless you own a Rolex or a Patek, you are not a real watch collector, and your collection isn't complete without one or both of those manufacturers' pieces. Having said that, Archie is as a self-professed international YouTube celebrity, and he's got thousands of subscribers, so he must be doing something right. His humour isn't for everyone. But having spoken to Paul Pluter, who is Archie Luxury's alter ego, or is it the other way around, is a lovely guy. I think Archie is Paul Pluter turned up to 11. So I think if you are okay with foul language, with a very big personality, and potentially for getting abused, verbally abused, then maybe Archie Luxury is your man. You will find lots and lots of different people asking, and indeed paying, Archie to do reviews. So if that will entertain you, pop over to Archie and see what he has to offer. He does upload a number of videos every day, some short, some longer, because he is now a full-time YouTuber, and that is indeed his sole income. So kind of that's it for this one. I hope, Max, that satisfies your request for my ideas of some of the best watch-based YouTube channels. It is only my opinion. There are too many out there to fit on one particular video on YouTube, but I hope this has satisfied you, and I hope you as viewers have enjoyed watching this. It has been quite hard going, but you know, if there's any I've missed that you think are worthy of a future mention, drop them down below as always. If you have any ideas or suggestions or queries about this particular video, by all means drop them down below. Any questions about anything, drop them down below. Forthcoming videos, I'm going to do a couple more on the non-watch side of my life, so hopefully you'll enjoy those. A couple of things that interest me, and hopefully that will interest others. So if this is your first time here and you've not yet subscribed, have a look at my old stuff, and if they interest you, feel free to subscribe. I will look forward to seeing you in the list. For now, that's it for this one, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye bye.